What's up guys, Mags here with some sweet Blade and Soul content. Today, I'll be covering the Bloodshade Harbor 6-man dungeon. Before you attempt this dungeon, make sure you have the wall run skill. As with the Black Ram supply chain dungeon, this dungeon also has 4 bosses and you skip a lot of the trash mobs by gliding over them and using wall run. I'll start by showing you the first skip of the trash in the first part of the dungeon. Oh, and one more thing. Make sure you have Siren Belts or 3-piece Black Ram Supply Chain Soul Shield or 3-piece Bloodshade Harbor Soul Shield to withstand the Venomous Thrasher's super attack. Make sure your stamina is full, jump over the first 2 guards right there, wall run up this little white rock wall here, and just go along with it to the right. And at the top, you just jump off like that. You can press space 2 to kind of make this somersault and get off it even better. And you glide all the way down right here. Once you're here, go and kill the fence Captain AG. Then go south and take the Dragon Stream. Once you've taken the Dragon Stream, there will be a lot of trash from this point on towards the first boss. Simply run and jump over this first little trash pack right here. And before you run through the guards up here, make sure you have full stamina. Once you have full stamina, simply run and jump through, as I'm doing right here. And there's 2 ways you can do this right here. You can either A, run through and turn to your left, jump up on this crate, or B, you can keep running and jump up on this second crate. In this example here, I run to the second crate. Once you're up here, you want to wait a little bit and gain some stamina. Once you got some stamina, run and jump over to this crate over here. And from this crate, run and jump and wall run up to the next crate. Kill the Booloo mob down here for the door to the first boss to open. And here's the first boss, Venomous Thrasher. He has 2 phases, with phase 1 being pretty much just tank and spank, so I'm just gonna skip that and go straight to phase 2. When phase 2 starts, he will howl and then jump up and hang with his little fucking tail in the ceiling. As he's doing this, he will spew down poison bolts at people, he will put up a little green goo that you should not stand in, and stuff like that. So, we'll go through it real quick. The first thing you want to do when phase 2 starts is you want to run up and find a spear gun. Now, as soon as you can loot it, make sure you grab the spear gun, and then run through one of these little waterfall or showers here to cleanse your poison debuff. Then get up to an egg and destroy it with pressing 1. As the egg is destroyed, it will pop a little smoke screen, smoke bomb effect that you can stand in to be immune to all of his attacks except for the green goo on the ground. Then just pummel in with LB until he falls down. When he comes back up, he will use this red AoE roar that will kill you unless you have cleansed the poison debuff, which in this case you've already done. Now, one thing you can do is that when he goes into phase 2, you can choose not to cleanse the poison debuff, and then instead just get him down on the ground because he will lay on the ground for a few seconds. As he's laying there, you can cleanse your poison debuff real quick before he does his roar, because when you cleanse your poison debuff, you will get a damage increase and movement speed increase buff, and you can do an insane amount of damage. Doesn't really matter, but it's always fun to see high numbers. After the first boss, you can skip a lot of trash by proper wall running and skipping. What you want to do is run straight through here on these first 2 mobs, then wall run up the middle crates here. You can see there's guards to your left and right. They will shoot you if you're too close, so make sure you're in the middle here. Glide over to the middle pack of the crates here. And once you're up, make sure you wait for stamina. Now, I did not wait here, so you can see I've actually fall down slightly there, which makes me miss the next couple of crates. It's not a huge deal. I'm still high enough that I won't aggro anything, but ideally you want to be high enough that you land on these crates here and not have to run up them. Once you're up here, you want to wait for stamina and then wall run to your right along the crates. Press spacebar and just glide over these mobs. Now you want to kill Head Enforcer, with power on to open the door for the second boss. The second boss is Munitions Officer Bloodshade. The first thing I'm sure you'll notice about this boss is that he has a truckload of health. This isn't a big deal though, as a special mechanic for this encounter is that there will be these small blue robots zooming around the room, and anyone, including the boss, getting hit by these will get a stacking laceration debuff that deals damage over time. So tank the boss in the middle of the room and try to make sure that he gets hit by as many robots as possible. Besides that, his attack pattern is normally very predictable. He will swing 3 times towards the tank, followed by a 360 AoE degree spin, followed by a roar attack. He will also use a red attack that will hit everyone in the room and activate a robot. The red attack should be CC'd but can also be iframed. So, make sure the boss gets hit by robots as much as possible, dodge the robots yourself, and look out for a spin attack, a roar attack, and red attack. Right before the third boss, you can skip one little trash pack here by jumping and sneaking around the pillar like so. The third boss is Scarlet Widow and Cobalt Widow. The main mechanic here is that you have to kill both bosses within 20 seconds or so of each other. A common way to deal with that is to split the group and have 3 players on Scarlet and 3 players on Cobalt. Scarlet will start off with using melee attacks, while Cobalt will use range attacks. Once you see this yellow animation here, they will swap attacks and Scarlet will be using range attacks and Cobalt use melee attacks. Scarlet will also use a Fire Flower AoE around her that will detonate after about 2 seconds, while Cobalt will use an Ice Flower that will detonate after about 4 seconds. This boss might seem chaotic at first, but it's easy as long as you keep the DPS going on both Scarlet and Cobalt while dodging their abilities. After the third boss and right before the last boss, you will fight 2 mini bosses, 2 officers. Now these guys will jump around these little small squares here, and the squares that they're not standing on will be consumed by fire. So make sure you stand with the officers on their square and you'll be fine. The last boss of the dungeon is Admiral Heimujin, and he has 3 phases. Phase 1 will last to about 80% of his health, and the main thing to watch out for here is his spin attack. This attack will do a lot of damage, so do your best at avoiding it, and he will do this attack for most of the encounter. At around 80% or so, he will jump into the middle and start phase 2 by spawning a shadow of himself. The shadow will spin around the room and should be tanked by a Force Master or Summoner, as they can lure the shadow away from the rest of the party. Once the shadow has stopped spinning around, kill it quickly. Occasionally in phase 2, Muji will jump into the middle of the room and do 3 sets of focus fire strikes. Watch out for the red circles on the ground, they do a lot of damage if you get hit by them, so make sure you do your best to avoid them. The pattern they spawn in are the same, but the pattern order is always random. At 20% or so, he will start phase 3 by using focused fire. This is exactly the same mechanic as focused fire strikes, but he will not stop doing them until either you or him are dead at this point. So just dodge them and finish him off. I hope this short little video guide of Bloodshade Harbor 6-man helped you guys out. Until next time, guys.